Can you hear us now? That should be better right there, family. That should be better. If we can just borrow a few more moments of your time, there's something else I needed to add as well while we have others gathering. Just one moment here. I wish I had some music to play for you all in the background.
On Watchman Reports, can everyone hear us okay? Okay, they said they hear you. Okay, good.
Wonderful, wonderful. Again, we will be with you in just one moment. Just one moment.
I need to check something here.
So we have a very special broadcast that we're going to be doing today. As a matter of fact, we're going to be broadcasting twice today because there are two things we're going to be talking about here. Two very important things. I think they're important.
Yes, they are.
So, I think you all will find everything to be very interesting, the things that we're going to cover in both series that we're going to do today. I'm going to find it very interesting. Much needed topics that we're going to be dealing with as well. Much needed. Because we are in that time where truth is just coming forth like a flood. You know, the Bible actually said that in the last days the truth is going to be greatly, or knowledge is going to be greatly increased. So we're going to be bringing some knowledge that's very important and very needed. Even though this is a marriage series broadcast, you're going to find. So we may have to just look at it from our screen because the printer is not cooperating. So since the printer isn't cooperating, we'll just look at it from the screen when necessary. That's what we're going to do. Dealing with these very, very important topics.
Yes.
Okay. Should have actually brought my computer from in here, because there was a lot of other information.
You could email it to this here.
The thing is, this right here, it's a lot more to it than that.
Okay, where's the rest of it?
It's on that computer in there. So
why don't you go and email it to you, to me and you?
Okay.
And that way we'll have it on both of these. So just bear with us one moment, family.
I'm gonna let Watchman talk to y'all while I go.
Oh, you know I'll talk your ears off. Well, shalom, family, shalom. Give us one moment. We're trying to get some things set up here. 27 years. Hallelujah. I just thank the Most High for it. We're going to cover some very important things, you know, about marriage and life and different things, you know. But I trust that everybody is doing well, you know. This is the day that Yah's made. We're going to rejoice and be glad in it. Hallelujah. So just bear with us one moment. And thank you all. Thank you all so much. Reading some of the comments here. Yeah, bless you all too. Bless you so much. Hallelujah. Yah's been good up through these years. He's been very good, you know, and I'm so thankful. I got so much to praise him for, you know, to thank him for, because it's been awesome. You know, it's been an awesome ride. The things that he's done for us and keeping us together all these years, you know. He's a wonderful Elohim. Let me check my email here. Let's see if she already sent it to me. Did you send it to my email too?
Yeah, that's actually right. Yes.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So
All right.
we just need to get it over on that computer for you.
Did I send it? Let me see. I'll do it from here.
Okay. So
Here.
email it to me. That's this computer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Our apologies, family, for not having this. I thought my printer was going to spit it out for us, but that didn't happen. So since that didn't happen, we have to work from the screen here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day thus far.
Yes.
The temperature is very mild, and I'm loving that. After going through a summer of all that heat, you can best believe that I am enjoying this temperature we're having right now.
Yeah, I am. Oh my goodness! I'm telling you, it's wonderful. Get up in the mornings and it's cool out, and oh man, September is
One of my favorite.
Yeah.
It's the month we tie the knot, whatever they want to, that's what they call it. And it's also a very mild temperature month for the most
Yes.
part. Sometimes it can get a little warm. There have been times where September has been very challenging, but I'm thankful to the Most High that we have some gentle and calm weather this September.
Yes.
And so now we are ready to get into this. We're making this a part of the marriage series, actually,
Yes.
for a number of different reasons. Because of some of the things we're going to be talking about, I think it'll be a baraka to those of you who are listening in.
Yes.
All right. It will be a baraka to you, hopefully. And so let's just get into it, family.
Yes.
So what we're going to be talking about today is, first of all, the fact that it is our 27th wedding anniversary.
27 years, y'all. 27 years.
27 years.
That's
Throw
a
that
long
down.
time, y'all.
Yes, it is.
It seems like
Yes,
we've
it is.
always been together.
I know.
It's weird. It's hard to think back to the time that we wasn't together. It's like, man, that was like another life.
It does seem like another life. It really
Yes,
does.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
All right.
So we want to talk about these 27 years, and some of the things we've had to go through. Let me see that list.
Okay. We've endured a whole lot in these 27
Yes.
years, y'all. And
Downsize it so it's real small. We can put
Okay.
it on the same screen.
right there. Okay. We've endured a whole lot in these 27 years, and the Most High has brought us through every last bit of it. Every last bit of it.
Yes, he has.
And so some of it we have shared with you all over the years, and you're going to remember. We may recall some of the things that we've already talked about, and we may not. We may talk about new things just to, reestablish just new memories about the whole thing. This journey for us has been amazing, and I'm thankful to the Most High for all that He's done, for bringing us this far. We both said, if the Most High wasn't in all of this, we don't know where we would be right now.
Yeah.
And that's real right there. We don't know where we would be,
Yes. Give us one moment. We still trying to set something up here to make it a little easier.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the studio one that was up?
That one somehow is not there.
Is it
That's okay.
on here?
Let me just do this for you right here. I think what the issue is we're trying to do this from two different computers. We're broadcasting from two different computers. Mine is over there. His is right here. And it's making it a little more difficult to navigate through all of this. But trust me when I tell you it's going to be worth it. With the things we're going to talk about, it is definitely going to be worth it. This is why we said we want to make this a part of the marriage series, because we're going to be talking about marriage, our marriage, our anniversary, our time together as husband and wife, and just all of those things. We're going to be talking about that. And hopefully what we will say will be a blessing to the listeners.
Separate him from the whole thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now make it smaller. There you go.
Much better. Okay, there we go.
Now you should bring the studio, like this one here up.
That's going to be a minute, so I don't want to prolong
I
don't want to prolong our audience.
Yes.
Sometimes he knows a lot more about these computer things than I do, and so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right.
So now we got this up and ready to go. Let's bring this on the top here.
Yes.
There we go. We can see everything. Okay, so now let's talk about this. This long road to get here, 27 years. It's been a lot of hills and valleys. You know, a lot of things we had to go through.
A lot.
To get here. A lot of things tried our marriage, you know. And it's just amazing, you know, that you're going to have that. You know, you just got to be strong.
Yeah.
The one thing I want to say is that I've grown a lot stronger over the years because of the hills and the valleys, you know, and the things that we've had to go through, you know.
Exactly.
I've become a lot stronger. The things that we've gone through taught us some lessons, some very valuable lessons, you know, and it taught us to be strong, because some people, when they go through things, they up and run, don't they? You know, they abandon their marriage, and they're most high, that's not his will for people to, when they up against some type of obstacles. It's not for you to run. It ain't for you to duck and hide and just try to get out of the marriage because you got some obstacles that you got to deal with. You know, a marriage is, you have to be responsible. To be married, you have to be responsible, right? It's a responsibility. I have a responsibility as a husband, and she has a responsibility as a wife. And we can't ignore each other's responsibilities, right? And sometimes people, when they up against financial problems or whatever, they just up and run, you know, because they can't deal with the financial struggle, you know. And it's not for you to run; it's for you to come together, because two are stronger. You know, when you got two are stronger than one. It's easier for two to tackle the problem than for one to tackle the problem.
Yes.
You understand? And so that's the one thing that we got to understand, you know, getting through life.
I know there's been things in our 27 years together. I've had many challenges as a woman, okay? I've had many challenges because the scripture tells us very clearly who the head is, right? And knowing that there are certain things that the head may require that the wife doesn't want to necessarily adhere to. You see, so when we talk about there have been hills and valleys, there were definitely those. And I did speak about some of that, you know, in our marriage series. There were things that my husband liked or didn't like that I didn't necessarily agree with, right? And without having to rehash all of that, I would like to say to you all, you can look at the marriage series to go through some of those things. But those are some of the challenges that any marriage can face, right? But one thing for sure, and I will say this to any woman, if you are married, if your husband doesn't have an unrighteous request, then just do what you're being asked to do. If it's not an unrighteous request. I had to say that because there are those who believe that whatever a husband tells a woman to do, that she must do, regardless to how unrighteous it is.
Right.
And anyone who have followed this ministry knows that I don't believe that. and Watchmen don't believe it either. But I want to say that because there is that belief out there that if my husband say do it, I got to do it no matter what.
No matter what, yeah.
And I don't believe that. I feel like if a husband or a wife wants you to do something outside of the will of the Most High, something that is unrighteous, something that is not fair, then you have to stand your ground, right?
Yeah.
I've said this, that I'm going to do a series on Abigail when I get a chance, and what her stance was in regards to her husband, who was called the son of Belial, or man of Belial, wicked man, right?
Yes.
I'm going to do a series on that. And you don't want to be a wife that is like a go along just to get along type, or ride or die, or Ananias and Sapphira. You don't want to be the kind of wife
yeah.
that will do whatever you are told to do just because your husband told you to do it. But you want to be a wife that follows righteousness. If you have a righteous husband who have righteous requests, then you want to be a wife that adheres to that, a wife that follows along with that, follows along with righteousness. Because this is a man who honors his head.
That's
right? And if he honors his head, then you better honor him.
That's right.
You see.
That's right. But if that man doesn't honor Yah, and he's a man of Belial, and he's trying to get you to go along into some wicked stuff, you better pull back, sister, because you could be judged. That man pull a Buddha up in the house and, you know what? I'm not gonna worship Yah anymore, Yahuwah anymore. I want to bring Buddha into this. I want to bring Kali and some of these other gods into this. But you better be. You can't sit there and say, "Okay, honey. Okay, so let's set the Buddha up over here next to the window and get us a little pond over here, and I'm gonna start worshiping Buddha too." You got to be strong enough to say, "You know what, honey, this ain't gonna work."
Right. We've seen both of us. We have seen
Yes, we have.
couples that have actually gone through that, where a husband comes and he says, "Look, wife, I have a different belief now. I don't believe in this anymore." And it starts, they take it through the whole family. That man establishes that new belief in the house, and the wife and the children just follow along like puppy dogs. Now, is there anyone in the chat who believes that this is the way it's supposed to be? Anyone in the chat who believes that this is the way it's supposed to be, regardless of what the husband says, that the wife is supposed to honor his request because he is the man? Anybody believe that? I'll wait.
I want to know. Yeah, I want to wait. I want to see the answers. If you believe that woman's supposed to follow you, husbands, if you believe that wife's supposed to follow you in any and every decision you make, regardless of how wicked it is, I want to know if you think that that's okay.
And so, of course, we know those that are following this broadcast ain't going to get in there and say... Okay, family, we were just throwing that out there because we already know no one's going to say yes to that unless they just trying to, be the devil's advocate or something.
Yeah.
Someone said the devil is a complete lie. Yes, he is.
He sure
yes,
is.
he is. He's a complete lie.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, family, we just want you all to just chime in because we're going to be going through a number of different topics here. Talking about our long journey here. We've had a long journey and there have been rough patches, but there have been a lot of good stuff too, a lot of hills and valleys, right? And we have grown together tremendously. And I thank the Most High for the growth that we have, both naturally and spiritually. But guess what? Neither one of us are perfect.
That's right.
And neither one of us have been perfect in this marriage.
Right.
It just hasn't happened. You see, we are still a work in progress. We are still a marriage in progress.
Yes.
That's just the way it is. And I just like to keep it real in saying that because many times when we come before everyone, we've had, people say different remarks. We've never tried to say that we were perfect and that we have all the answers. We've never believed that. We strive for perfection. We strive to do better and to do right and to be an excellent example. We strive for all of that. That is what we do. And so that's what we want to bring before you today, ways to deal with the hills and the valleys. And we're going to be talking about the many learning curves that we've experienced as well in this marriage. There have been many.
Yeah, I had to learn some things. I'm gonna be honest with you, right? When we first got married, there's some things I did not understand about women, right? Mm-hmm. I thought I knew everything I needed to know, right? You think you know that until you get married and you with a woman every single day, living in the same home, and you know what I'm saying? When you with them every single day, then you realize there's some things you didn't know about women, okay? And likewise, there's some things women didn't know about men. You know, there would be plenty of times where I would hear guys talking and about their wife, and I'd be like, man, that sound like my wife. You know, and it wouldn't be nothing bad, it'd just be things that they were saying how their wife was, about this, about that. And then it made me realize that women had a certain type of way about them, and men have a certain type of way about them. That's why I thought it was funny when I saw the sign posted when we went to that one place.
Yeah, I was just talking to a sister about that the other day. Yeah,
it's kind of funny because the sign says some look here, it says women, wives. Your husband is going to do everything that you ask him to do, so there's no need to ask him every 6 months to do it. It was kind of funny.
It actually said he's going to get to the project that you wanted.
Yeah.
I know it's been 6 months, but he gonna do it.
Yeah.
So it gave reference.
That's how I see it. You know, pretty much.
Right.
There's no need to keep asking him.
Yeah.
And if she has to keep asking him, it's obvious he's not doing it right. But I discovered that a lot of men are like that. Wife, I say, honey, could you do this here? And he said, yeah, I get to it. And then after the third time,
her voice might change a little bit.
I said, honey,
baby, can you do this?
Can you please get to it? And some women are very nice, and some may be a little aggressive with it. You know, I've heard stories, right? And some of them could be, can you just get it? You know, the next thing you know, she fussing at the guy, and it's like, well, man, go on and do what she asked you to do.
He's
man.
like, I'll get to it. So then now two people are yelling.
Right, exactly. You see what I'm saying?
You know, or some women will say, you know what, forget it. I'll just hire somebody else.
Or I'll just do it myself. You know, right, exactly. And then next thing you know, she up on the roof because you wouldn't do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I had to learn over the years that, okay, I got ways about me. Right? I thought I was perfect, you know. Then after a while, that light got to shining on me and say, no, you wrong. Most times, like, nope, you were wrong in that. You were wrong in this. You were wrong. I was like, man, am I wrong in everything? You know? But the Most High had to show me some things that I had to get together. Now, that being said, you have to learn each other. Starting off a marriage, you have to learn each other.
Right. And so,
yeah.
I wanted to say something about women in that, because it can get a little frustrating. Just because it takes a man 6 months or a year or 2 years or something like that to do things, right? There is still a way that we have to stay grounded. We have to stay grounded. Yes, it can be frustrating. And the fact that we're talking about this, we are both admitting that we've gone through this, right?
Right.
But on the flip side of that, I will also admit that sometimes I have gotten a little bothered by the length of time that it may take to do some things. And I've had to check myself, because sometimes I will get frustrated, and sometimes that frustration will be on display. It will be. But just because I'm frustrated, do I have a right to be?
Right. And get this here. Watch this. She can be frustrated. Scripture didn't say she didn't have to be frustrated, right? She can be frustrated. She just got to be respectful. Right? Same likewise. A man can be frustrated about something, right? He come home for dinner, come home from work every day, and you know, honey, where the food at? Where the dinner at? I get to it. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that we wouldn't like that. We didn't go through that, right? But I'm just talking about men out there in general. Yeah. Sometimes that man can get a little frustrated too. And come home from work, and that's what he's dealing with. A woman who don't really want to cook, don't really want to have food ready for him. I think, that my wife always had food ready when I came home, you know. And so I thank y'all for that. But I just want you...
And I want to say, too, now that we have all of these children, these adult children, these older children, they throw down in the kitchen now. We all share the responsibility. So now we have, this is your day, this is your day, this is my day, this is his day. This is how it goes now, because we're older, we have older children. But before all of that, I was the cook in the house. Right?
And guess what? I got a day even.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And guess what? Even though my wife was a cook before we had all the children, and she was the cook in the house, I love cooking.
Right.
So I'd be like, hey, baby, I want to do this one this time. I'm going to cook this time because I love cooking. That's something I enjoy doing.
Right.
So
there's a debate that's been going around online. I've been seeing it for the past few weeks. And I'm pretty sure it's been going on longer than that, but for some reason it's been showing up in my feed in the past few weeks. But there's this talk about when you have a man and a woman who work full time, right? Man and woman who work full time.
Oh, that one is something. I get it.
But there's a man who sits within that marriage, and he expects the woman to, when she gets home, get my dinner ready. Do this, do that, right? And the talk has been about the fact that that man will sit up there, kick his feet up. She's dealing with the children. She's dealing with the food. She's dealing with everything. But she just worked full time as well. And so the debate goes like this. It's kind of like the woman was saying, well, shouldn't you be in here helping me with this? Shouldn't you help with either the dishes or help with the cooking? Because we are both on the same schedule, dude, right? And so there's been a debate because some men still stand their ground and say that that's a woman's job. Can somebody show me in the scripture where it said that was a woman's job?
I'm gonna tell you what the problem is. I'm gonna tell you, be honest with you, tell you what the problem is. Okay, some of you men out there are idiots. I hate to come that cold like that, but some of the men out here are idiots. Okay, I'm gonna just keep it real. I'm gonna tell you the type of person I am. This is my personality. This is how I am, right? If me and my wife both work jobs and we both get off at 5 o'clock. And I got home and the babysitter, we got to say, okay, babysitter's leaving or whatever, right? I'm going to be honest with you, right? I will be right in there, even though I'm tired of what I'm saying, what we going to have for dinner today? And my wife may say, I'm going to make this here, I wanted to make some spaghetti. Well, I'll be like, I tell you what, I'm going to go and put this on, I'm going to put that on. I don't have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Then if the child is over here crying or something or whatever, and I'll be like, well, I'll handle this here, and you go deal with the dinner. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand why some men are just like that, aren't like that. Should I say? I don't understand it. You know, I would be to the point where I would be like, oh yeah, you know, hey, let's go and get this going. You know,
right?
And me personally, my wife will tell you, right? I'm not afraid of the kitchen. I jump. Look, let me tell you, if I got on first, I probably already had dinner on. She come in the door, I say, yeah, I got it on already. What's the big deal? What's with all this? I'm the man. I'm going to just put my feet up. I'm not going to do nothing. I'm the Lord of my home. Get my food for me. You want a wife or you want a maid?
A maid. That's what a lot of them
Yeah, really, you just want a maid, right? And that's the thing that gets me about it all. It's not a big deal to me. My wife come home. I say, yeah, baby, I already got started on food. Why should I sit there and wait? I'm going to sit, I don't feel like I'm going to just sit here and wait. Well, if that's the case, then I probably would have ordered out. Now, I don't do that now, of course. If I'm talking about back in the days before we get to the point where we're not ordering out and doing that kind of stuff.
Back in the day, sometimes we would say, let's treat ourselves to a pizza.
Yeah, or
I mean,
something
we would
like
do that
that.
sometimes,
Yeah,
you know?
back in the days, right? Because if we both were tired and we both were working and all of that, I'm just telling you how we had different situations though, because there wasn't a time where both of us was working the exact same hours and we got off work. And you know what I mean? I mean, it only lasted a moment when we were going through something like that.
Right.
Because that babysitting fee.
Right. That's what landed me at home, because the majority of my paycheck was going to the child care.
Yeah.
And I said, baby, do you realize that after it's all said and done, all I have is $50 left? I said, it ain't worth my time to have $50 left at the end of the week. After I pay this woman, I said, this don't make any kind of dollars or cents.
Exactly.
You know, and so that's when we ended all of that. But what we're trying to say here is that when you have men that have these expectations of women, and they're not being realistic in how they analyze things and how they look at things, it's just not fair. Yeah. And it's not a righteous thing to think that the woman is supposed to do all of that and work full time and pay half the bills, right? Now, that's another debate that I've been seeing online as well about the husband and the wife half and everything, right? That's that one right there. We have never there is no line of separation in our income. There's no
line
has
of separation.
been.
Matter of fact, I don't understand it because let me tell you something. When I used to work the job, I come home whack with the check. Like, here's the check, baby. You know, and you know what bills got to be paid. Matter of fact, I put my wife in charge of it because I'm gonna be honest with you. I was coming home from work. I had a lot on my mind, busy, and this was hard for me to just go over the bills.
And even think about that.
Go through the mail and all that. I mean, I made a huge mistake years ago because we got a letter from something that happened one time, and I didn't open the letter. Time went by, and it was a huge mistake.
Yeah.
I don't even want to get into it, but it was a huge. I wish I had opened the letter. But anyway, to make a long story short, I handed that over to my wife to do because I just didn't have time to come after I got off work. I didn't feel like going through mail trying to see what bill needed to be paid. So I said, here's the money, baby, and here's the bills. Mm-hmm. Take care of that, you know. Let me see what's left afterwards, and we make decisions together.
Right.
Now, I'm not gonna go and just buy a big screen TV, and we got bills that got to be paid. I'm a responsible man, right? My wife ain't gonna go buy 15 pairs of heels when we got bills to be paid, right? We're both responsible.
Right. As a matter of fact, since you brought up heels, we talking about this thing, right? My husband used to like heels, right? And so I didn't. When I would wear heels coming up, I had what they call the pump heels. It was a very low heel. And so I didn't like heels, but my husband did. And so we had to reason together. Mm-hmm. You know, learning to work together. That's one of the things I said, well, you know what, baby, I know you like them, but my feet don't like them, right? Yeah. I have flat feet, so they just didn't work for me. So I finally had to say, baby, I know that you like them, but guess what? My feet hurt. Mm-hmm. Can we just eliminate that part of your desire?
Yeah, I said, sure, baby, sure, no problem.
It took a while before I came to him with that, because I knew how he liked them, and I said I can't handle it. Mm-hmm. My feet can't handle it. Yeah. And so we learned to work with one another and reason with one another on things such as that.
Yes,
I mean, there was a lot of reasoning that had to go. This is why we talked about the long road to get here.
Yeah.
And guess what? Even though we are at the 27-year mark, we are still trying to get some things together.
Yes.
You know, everything is not together the way we would like it to be, right? But we are still trying to get there. The Most High knows that we are putting forth that, I can't say godly effort. I'm going to say Yahweh effort. We're trying to put forth that effort because we know what time we're living in, right? And so it does take some getting to know one another and reasoning together with one another in some things, because we are both two separate bags of bones and flesh. You know? We are two, we are, you know, even though the scripture says, now that's in a spiritual sense, it says they two shall become one flesh.
Yes.
That's a spiritual sense, right?
Right.
It's talking about spiritual, but our flesh will never be merged together, right?
Right.
There are some things he like to eat that I don't like. There are some things I like to eat that he don't like.
Right.
But what's interesting, you know, since we're talking about this, the other day he discovered he liked artichokes after a very long time of me trying to get him to like artichokes, right? Mm-hmm. I kept saying, baby, try it. Nope. He tried it, didn't like it. Then all of a sudden, a particular blend came in that had a particular marinade on it. Yeah. And now
I was like, wow. I don't like this marination that's on these particular artichokes are really good. So
so I just threw that part in there. But we're learning one another yet and still.
Yes.
And we're trying to work with one another yet and still. This marriage has been a learning curve for both of us. Mm-hmm. And we're learning to work together. Even today, there are things we have to learn to work together on. But a lot of those hurdles we have already gotten over. And I thank the Most High that a lot of that stuff is behind us. A lot of the learning is behind us. And now we are, you know, getting more and more and more and more in tune with one another. You know, the way we should be. I say in tune because, again, if we're going to be honest and realistic, there are still some things that we both need to work on.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. There's so much we have to learn. Working together is the key, though. I'm going to tell you something right now. If there's no way we could have achieved a lot of the things that we've achieved in life if we didn't work together. Mm-hmm. There's just no way.
No way.
You know, there's no way I would have even went down some of the roads I went down if I hadn't had my wife. Mm-hmm. You understand me? And so that working together is very crucial. If you have a relationship, then I'm gonna tell you right now, if you have a relationship with your husband, with your wife, if you have a good relationship, work together. Mm-hmm. Be understanding to one another and what they may be going through. You got to be understanding. Mm-hmm. Because when you're not understanding and you don't want to understand a person, what that does is it causes a person to get so closed up and bottled up. Mm-hmm. Because and then you wonder, well, why won't she say nothing to me? She don't want to deal with me no more. Well, you don't know why? Mm-hmm. Because you don't want to understand her. You don't want to listen to her. You know, you barking out your orders, and you don't want to give her a chance to hear. You don't want to hear nothing coming out of her mouth. Well, this is why, right? This is exactly why. And so you gotta work together, and you gotta learn how to forgive one another too.
Yeah.
You know, because you just gotta learn how to be that way. Me and my wife, we learned it years ago, that if we got into an argument or something, we learned to not go to bed angry or upset. We learned that years ago, mm-hmm. right? I'm talking about years ago. You have to be that way. You got to be to the point where you say, I'm not going to let this thing, I'm not going to go to bed bitter at my baby. You know, it's my baby here. I'm not going to go to bed bitter and angry because of this and because of that and because of, of things. And so I think that those are the things that husbands and wives got to learn how to do. You got to learn how to be very forgiving in things, because sometimes a man, I'm a man, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we men, we say things that we shouldn't say, okay, mm-hmm. and sometimes we don't word things right, okay, mm-hmm. and because of that, it can be offended. It can offend the wife, right? Mm-hmm. And she said, "What you mean by that, honey?" Well, I didn't mean nothing by it. Now you try to clean it up. I didn't mean nothing by it. Now she's upset at you, right? But sometimes you women, you got to understand this too. You know that he don't mean no harm, right? Sometimes, right? Yeah, exactly.
And I got to say sometimes, because there are some situations I've, had people send me messages where there are. I mean, we can't base everything on our marriage, because there are some people going through some of these things where a husband is very brutal with his tongue towards his wife intentionally, and some situations where wives are very cold towards their husbands intentionally or whatever, even brutal with the tongue. We do realize that these situations do exist out there. But we're trying to talk about how we've been able to get over some of the hills and valleys in our marriage, right? Over or under, you see.
Yes, exactly.
And working together and forgiving one another is one of those, are two of those things that we've been able to do. Forgiveness is one of those things where you may go through, it doesn't matter if it's something small or big, it's very important that you learn to forgive. Yeah. I remember one time in our marriage, I was really, it was when we first moved south, okay? When we first moved south, I was getting a bit, some people call it culture shock, because I had never lived in an area like that before. And so I was looking around, and things were starting to get to me, right? Mm-hmm. Things were starting to get to me. One of our older children experienced that too. The culture shock of being in an area that we were no people around that we knew, okay? Everything was different. Things that were at close reach before weren't. And so I started to get very depressed. And at that time, I began to look for houses back in Michigan. After we just made this long journey south, right? Mm-hmm. Here I'm looking at, and I'm trying to convince him we need to go back, right? Mm-hmm. Because I was getting really frustrated, and it just caused me to go into a depression. It really did. Yeah. And I remember one time that I got in the vehicle, and I just drove up the road. I just kept driving. I was getting deeper and deeper into the country. Nothing was looking familiar anymore. And I said, okay, I don't want to go too much further. So I did find a business. I got in front of that business. It was closed. So it must have been on a Sunday because they were closed. And I just parked the vehicle in that parking lot, and I just cried like a baby because I was missing my family. It was a whole lot going on. I was missing everybody. I was missing everything about our life in Michigan. And so sometimes when you may go to your spouse and they don't know how to comfort you in those things. They don't know what to say to you, and they may not even agree with you. So it's like, and you're looking to that person to be an ear, to understand you in some things, and sometimes that may not always happen, right? And so there are a number of different things, and you have to learn how to forgive. And that, I gave you a very small example. There are bigger examples that I could share, but that was a small example of being able to forgive someone. I'm going to talk about a funny one in which we've shared this one before many times. As a matter of fact, we were talking to somebody about it the other day. But for me at the time, it was big. I love chocolate cake, y'all. And it was a piece of cake left. It was mine. Everybody had theirs, right? And it was mine. And Watchman, in the wee hours of the night, decided that, you know what, I don't care what she say, I'm eating this. Because he just wanted it. He didn't care that it was mine. He knew it was mine. He ate it when I got up to retrieve it the next day. I'm going to be honest, y'all. Let's just say all hell did break loose. It did. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I wasn't just upset. I was angry. And
Take my last piece of cake!
I was very upset because I knew it was going to be a minute before we got back around to something, And so I was so upset, but I had to learn to forgive him in that. I really did. And it did. I'm being honest, y'all. It took me a minute. I would look at him from time to time and say, I can't believe you did that. I can't believe you did that, But it is what it is. The little things and the big things.
Yes.
We have got to learn to forgive.
Yes, absolutely. One thing I've learned over the years too is that communication means a lot in a marriage.
It does.
And that man got to learn how to listen to that woman. Now, I had a problem with that when we first got married.
Yeah. Even before we got married, when we were dating.
Yeah, when we were dating, I had a problem with listening. I felt like, do I have to hear this? Nope, And so I come home from work, even after we got married. After we got married, I come home from work, and she have a lot of things she wanted to say to me, and I just didn't want to hear nothing. And even after that, we would be off on a day, and she wanted to talk to me about this. I just didn't want to listen. There was a lot of things she wanted to talk to me about that I just did not want to listen. And eventually I realized that I was causing issues because that would cause her to want to be like, well, you know what I mean? And so withdrawn. And so I had to get to the point where I said, okay, let me take my time and listen to what she's saying. And so I had to learn how to communicate better with my wife and how to listen to her. That's a problem. And guess what? I knew other men that were going through the same issues with their wives. The wife will say the same thing. They don't want to hear nothing that the woman have to say, period. That's how it was. I'm telling you right now, that's how it was. I felt like, I don't really have to hear what you got, what now? Okay, yeah, that's fine, all right. I just didn't want to, that's how I was, And so eventually, when I began to listen to her, and I began to communicate right, things got better. A lot of the problems we were having started to go away,
Yeah, that was one of my biggest problems in the beginning, with my husband being older than me and him being a man. He talked loud too, and so, it was a number of things that used to bother me, and not wanting to talk, not even wanting to listen. Those things will weigh on a woman, and she will withdraw. And we had to learn to get over those things. We had to learn how to listen to each other and how to communicate with one another, because When you don't have proper communication, that will and can and will cause problems.
Yes.
You see, because in some marriages, let's just go to finances, for instance. If you have a husband that is one of those, I'm gonna buy what I want to buy. This is my money,
yeah.
and I'm gonna do what I want to do with my money, and and the wife is like, well, baby, can you not get that big 500-inch TV this time, because we got some bills to pay. And if that man is adamant on getting that 500-inch TV because he don't want to listen to you, because he's the man, he's the boss, he's the breadwinner, or whatever, even if he's not the breadwinner, y'all both earning together, and he wants to even pool your money, and he goes, or in some cases, some men won't even ask your permission or say anything. They will just take the money out of the account and say, this is what I did.
Right.
And then when the woman begins to talk about the bills, then all of a sudden there's a huge problem. There's arguing, there's bickering back and forth. Those things cause huge problems. And it's unfortunate that some people are actually going through that.
The thing is, you got a lot of alpha males out here, right? Let me tell you something about an alpha male, right? An alpha male feel like, hey, I don't have to say nothing to my wife when I want to take money out for anything. I just go take the money out, I use for this and use for that. I don't do that, right? If there's something that I want to purchase, now I'm not talking about minor things, right? Something that costs under $100 or whatever, and we ain't going through no financial problems. That's something minor, right?
Right.
If you're going through financial problems, then that's something major, right? So if we were going through financial problems, there's no way I'd go in an account and just grab a couple $100 and just spend it on something. There's no way I would do that, right? I would always say, hey, honey, I want to spend a couple $100 on this over here, so what do you think about it? And she would say, and she would let me know, because she's more in tune with what need to be paid. So I would be an idiot to say, she just find out about it, right? Then she come, well, honey, they about to take your car. What?
My car?
Yeah, because $200 was lacking on the car note, and I couldn't pay it or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So understand, I would be a fool. I always go to, hey, baby, so what does it look like? I want to get this month. And she said, yeah, things look fine. Yeah, you should be able to get that. Yeah, that's fine. And likewise, my wife ain't gonna look out there and something brand new in the driveway. She, whoa, baby, what you done did?
Right.
That ain't gonna happen, right? So understand what I mean by you have to be a certain way in a marriage, okay? Now, some people now, let me say this to you, right? Now, because I know there's some alpha males out there that got everything together. You're perfect in everything. You paying the bills, you handling the books, you handling the money, you handling the income, you handling everything.
You're raising the kids, you're cooking. Well, no, you ain't
doing none of this. You know what I mean? Okay, that's you in your life. That's how you gonna run your life. That's fine. You do that. I know what works best for us. And I know what have caused our marriage to grow. I know what have caused us to grow in business and other things too, is us working together and us communicating. You know what I'm saying? So as it relates to funds, there's no way I would go in an account and take out a large sum of money and not say nothing to my wife about it. And she just look up in the account and it's missing. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be honest with you, right? It's called accountability. Okay? Do you know the number of stories I've heard where women would be out of the loop of the husband spending, right? And then she go to the account and look at the account, and the account is empty. She's like, we had $10,000 in the account. What happened to that money? I've seen stories like that was crazy. And these men took that money and they did whatever they want to do with it. Some of them had women on the side. Some of them had this going on and that going on. And I'm trying to think, there's one particular incident that was a movie I think I saw where this guy did that to this woman. And she didn't have no money. And so when she tried, and then he up and left. I'm telling you, it's some crazy stuff going on. So communication is important, okay? So that's something that you gotta understand, right? Now, I want to talk about defeating the marriage demon. We talked about this before. There is a marriage demon, okay? This demon attacks marriages. I gave the dream about it before about how this demon was swerving and doing stuff and was causing marriages to be destroyed. You know, and they were fighting, literally thinking they were fighting the demon. They were fighting each other, you know, and it was just crazy, you know. Being able to defeat that demon is so important.
So important.
Because that thing will cause so many problems in your marriage, and you will sit there and be one. Look, let me tell you what this spirit will do, right? I tell you how bad it can get. Because this has happened to us before, right? When we get into a bad argument, right? And a week later, we can't even figure out what it was we was arguing about. That's how you know, because we sit there and we'd be laughing like, what was that even about? And we'd be scratching our head like, I don't know. So early on, we had to learn that we learned early on that there is a marriage demon that tries to attack marriages for the little minutest things.
That's what I was going to say, that sometimes we will recall what it was about. And then we'll look back and say, over that? Something that small? We could let that go?
Yeah. I remember one time, this was 20 years ago, we had this house built out in Michigan. We lived in Michigan. And I remember there was something dealing with a brick column there. You remember that we got into that argument dealing with that brick column and what we was going to put on the side of this column or something like that. And we got into a really bad argument about that. And then afterwards I sat back and I said, why would we get into an argument over that? I remember it though. And I said, man, we got into an argument over the column there. And so that's what I mean by it. Then that's how you know, it's like, wait a minute. Something like that shouldn't even amount to an argument.
Right.
That's how you know that there's a spirit that's trying to break marriages up.
Right.
Because he's going out of his way to get you agitated over some little bitty things that you shouldn't even be getting agitated over.
I remember incidents like that, and for me, I want to deal with the fact of them being learning curves for both of us. Learning curves. So for those of you who are going to listen to this and try to take it the wrong way, understand how it was a learning curve for us.
Yeah, for us, yes.
Okay, because the way I recall, I remember those days. We were still somewhat early in our marriage, I would say, even though we were 5 years into it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's early compared to now.
Yeah.
And so during that time, we were still dealing with my husband being the head and he being the man. And as the man, the way I want to do things, that's the way I want to do it.
Yeah.
Because that's right around the time when I wanted to paint the room a certain color. Right? All of that goes hand in hand. And so many times a man automatically wants everything to go in his direction. Okay, so I'm explaining to you how a man is, right?
Yes.
Now, the way some women are like, and I'm going to just say I'm one of those women. You know, initially, I used to keep a lot of things bottled up in the very beginning of our marriage. And I would keep it bottled up to the point where I would just simply cry about these things, right? And so that was driving a wedge between us, and it would build frustration in me because he had this I'm the man attitude about everything.
Yep, I'm the man.
Y'all hear me? Everything.
I sure did.
Everything. And so I did see evidence of that when we were dating, but I love this man so much. I said, okay, I can work through this. I can work through it. I can work through it, right? But once you get married, like you said, you live with a person, it becomes different. And so there was a way that developed in me as well. I said, well, you know what? There were certain things that I just felt like, it's like, I got to say something, you know, because I just don't understand this right here, right? And so it began to get to the point where it's like, okay, well, are we stepping out of our lane now because I'm decorating this room? Can't I just decorate this room? What's the big deal about this? You know, you out there doing this and doing that, and you building this and building that. I ain't got nothing to say to you about that. Can I just paint this room? This started getting you hear what I'm saying, right? Yep. And so what I'm saying, that was his way, that was my way. We were both wrong. We were both wrong. This is why I say it was a learning curve. That was a learning curve where I felt like, look, I should be allowed as a woman to decorate this house.
And guess what? Yeah, I had to step in because I like my wife said, I'm the man. Every decision dealing with this house, I'm going to make it.
Right.
And that's how I was, you know. And so it just got to, that's why we got into the argument over the column and over a couple of things doing with the house.
Because I felt like this was both of our house. Can't we both have something to say about it,
Exactly.
right? This is so. Again, I'm not justifying, my actions,
Right.
and he's not justifying his actions, but we are both establishing
Yes.
that it was a learning curve.
Yes.
Come, let us reason together.
Yes.
We got to talk about this calmly, okay?
But the thing is, I'm going to be honest, I didn't want to talk about it.
Right, exactly.
That was the problem. I didn't want to communicate. I didn't want to listen. I didn't want to talk about it. It wasn't until Yah stepped in and spoke to me. He spoke to me and said, let that woman paint that room. I mean, it was so clear in my head, almost like let that woman paint that room. And I was like, but I don't want an orange room. He's like, she want to paint it orange. Let her paint the room orange. It was just like, came to me just that strong. And I stood there and I said, man, it bothered me. I couldn't understand it. And I was like, okay. And I just told her, yeah, go ahead on. You go and paint it orange. Just go ahead, do whatever you want to do. Go ahead on. And so she said, well, I want this wall here to be black. I said, black! And I was just going out my mind about that. I was like, okay. The orange walls. And I was on the Halloween looking room, But when she was done with that room, it was spectacular. It was incredible. And I sat there and I said, wow. Here I was blocking this blessing here. It was hooked up. And it wasn't orange. It wasn't like you think.
Right.
You would have to see the design. It was incredible. And the whole wall that was black wasn't a whole wall. It was more like two bookshelves, the back of bookshelves around the window. And it popped because we had these beautiful pictures of these women, or this woman on the piano. And the pictures fit right in there and the colors just popped. It was incredible.
And it was surrounded by a bookcase and a window seat in the middle. But the point was this, look, we had a lot of people come to our house. White, black, all kinds of people would come to our house and stay, y'all, right? And get this. Every one of them said, did you all have this professionally decorated?
They sure did.
This room is incredible. It's so warm. It's so inviting. We had bamboo on the floors, and it was just beautiful. We shared this with you all before, okay? We shared this with you all before on our other channel. Well, we're broadcasting from both channels today, but we shared that for a reason, because I was allowed to explore my creativity after the Most High stepped in. But the way I handled it initially, it was like, this just ain't fair. Everything is going in the direction of what he wants, and even down to decorating, I have not a voice in this, right? And so this is when we came to the conclusion that we've got to talk to one another, we've got to listen to one another, we've got to communicate, and we've got to reason together with one another. Charles Edwards asked, what is making us bring forth this message today? Well, today is our anniversary, and so we decided to do an anniversary broadcast and talk about the marriage series.
Exactly.
You see, some of these things we've talked about before, and so that's why we're talking about marriage-related things, because it's our anniversary.
And we've been together 27 years. And
yes,
so
27
we're
years.
explaining why we've been together 27 years, because we were able to work out differences, and we were able to communicate, and we were able to forgive one another and work together, and we had to learn things about each other, and
defeat the marriage demon.
The marriage demon, that's right.
Now get this, y'all, the marriage demon don't stop just because you're 27 years married.
Yep, exactly.
I have to say that they don't stop. Those demons, they still keep trying.
Yes.
But we have to still keep fighting.
That's right.
You see, demons don't, they will continue to try. They will continue to try. And so now we want to talk about raising our children. Okay. As you all know, we have a large family, and raising children in this world is no joke.
Yes.
It is not a joke. It is serious business. And I'm grateful to the Most High for this journey of raising children. Our children have gotten a lot from us, right? They've gotten a lot from us, and I'm so thankful that we have been very active parents and trying to make sure that they stay on the right path. It's very important that our children stay on the right path, and the scripture tells us it's our job to train them up in the way that they should go, so that when they are old, they will not depart from it. And again, not saying that anything is perfect in that arena either. We have made some mistakes in regards to raising our children as well.
Yes.
Right? But we are constantly learning and, asking the Most High to lead us and guide us in the way that He would have us to go. Because we see how very important the next generation is.
Yes.
We see how important that is. And our children, they're gonna be here,
Yes.
right? They're gonna be here. They're gonna be adults. We already have 4 adult children, right? But as our other children become adults, they are going to eventually start to interact with the world on their own. And so, whose job is it to prepare them for that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's our job. We got to prepare them for that, you see.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like my wife said, it's been a growing thing also with learning how to raise our children. Now, when we had our first child, right? And I want to say our first 2, right, children. Let me tell you something. As soon as that baby come out, that baby don't come out with a manual. Okay,
right.
You get what I'm saying? Now, people can tell you some things. They tell you, you got to give them this, you got to do this, you got to do that, right? Okay, that's as it relates to feeding them, right? Mm-hmm. And cleaning them and bathing them and all of that kind of stuff, right? But then there's a part that's about teaching them,
right?
And what you let them do and what you don't let them do, and who you let them be around and who you don't let them be around. There's a lot of different variations in that, and so we have to learn that thing. And so, with our older children, we have to learn some things the hard way,
Mm-hmm.
that you just can't let your children have any kind of friends. And the school system,
a big no-no.
Big no-no for children, And so we had our first children went to public schools. But eventually when we began to see things happening and things they were picking up from other children, we were like, okay, it's time to pull them out of public schools.
Enough of that.
Enough of that, exactly.
Yeah, enough of that.
So we had to learn how to raise them and train them up in the way that they should go.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And even now we are still, we're still figuring things out.
Yes.
We're still, and we realize that each child is different.
Yes.
No 2 children of ours are the same.
Nope.
They are all different.
Yes.
Every last one of them. I can't think of any 2 of our children that are exactly the same.
Yeah.
And so with each of them, that's a whole different soul that you are dealing with, a whole different person that you have to prepare for the world, a whole different person that you have to teach about the Most High, right? And so these are the things that we have learned. And even now, the life that we are living now is different than it was with our older children. It's totally different. And the world that we're living in now is different than it was with our older children. So this group of children that we have right now, the younger ones, they have to learn how to navigate through a whole different mess in this world than what our older children had to back then.
Yes.
I would venture to say that things were a lot more easygoing back then.
Yes, exactly.
In terms of how the world is, not in terms of how we live, because we had some financial struggles, some major financial struggles back then.
Yes.
But the world was a lot more calmer place, right?
Yeah.
We're in the age of COVID and all this other stuff that's happening, and monkeypox and
violence.
All kinds
there
of
were some
things.
violent things that went on back. Let me say, I get what my wife's saying. Let me explain it. There were some violent things that happened back in the days in violent neighborhoods and things like that. But overall, it wasn't like it is now. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now it's getting to the point where you got these mass shootings everywhere now, which you didn't have that back in the days. You didn't have to worry about that back in the days. As much, exactly. People kidnapping folk, breaking in homes, and just all kinds of things have gotten just worse over the years. Crime have gotten worse over the years. And so when my wife is saying that basically things were a little bit calmer and easier back in those days, but nowadays it's just different.
Right, it is. And so, but we are all learning together how to navigate through this.
Yes.
And so now, we don't want to be before you too long with this, because we do have another broadcast we want to do, but we want to talk about how we were able to grow together, growing and maturing in love for one another. Growing and maturing is very, very, very important.
Yes, it is.
And that's something that we can talk about our growth. We remember where we were 27 years ago, even before that, because we've been married 27 years, but we've been together, what,
30.
29, 30 years?
30
years.
years.
And so even with that, learning how to grow and mature in love for one another, for me, it's been definitely a process and many learning curves and hills and valleys that we've had to go through.
One thing I want to say is this here too, and we've had to make this discovery, okay? And most of you need to understand this, okay? Those of you that are married, okay? There are needs that my wife have and that I have that can't be fulfilled by each other, okay? Some of these needs are spiritual needs, okay? There are things that you have to go to Yah for, right? There are things I can comfort my wife in, and there are things that I can't comfort her in, right? There are things that only Yah could comfort you in, right? When my mother passed years ago, I was having a hard time. And my wife was there to comfort me, right? She was there to comfort me and show me love and to help me through it. But it took Yah to get me through that thing. I had to go to Yah in prayer and at nighttime seeking Yah and helping, letting Him bless me, right?
Yes.
To get me a good understanding about things, because I was really just disturbed when my mother had passed. And so understand that, right? That there are going to be things that what your wife is going to have to go to Yah directly for, and that husband ain't going to be able to help you. Right? That wife ain't gonna be able to help you. There are things that you got to go to Yah for, and that's a part of maturing. Because if that woman thinks, you just can't help me, what is going on? I need your help. And you just, that's why you got to have a close relationship in Yah.
Right, absolutely. And that's one of the things that I've been able to grow and mature in, realizing that some things I do have to take to Yah, that I can't depend on my husband for everything.
Right.
If you get to the point where all of your comfort, all of your love, all of your understanding has to come from a man or a woman, then I feel like you're lost. Because when they can't fulfill that and you don't feel like you can go to Yah, then where do you go? That's why I like that old song that says, where do I go when there's no one to turn to? Who do I talk to when nobody wants to listen? Who do I lean on? Listen, when there's no foundation stable, I go to the rock. I know He's able. I go to the rock. Some of y'all know that. I go to the rock of my salvation. I go to the stone that the builders rejected. So that song, sometimes I will sing that song, y'all, and it makes me feel good knowing that I can go to the mountain and the mountain stands by me. Yes, because sometimes I can't go to my husband. There have been times where I've tried to bring things to my husband. He'll sit and he will listen, right? But I don't get what I need. I don't get the response that I need, that I'm looking for. I don't get that comfort that I need, that I'm looking for. Like he talked about when his mom passed away, there was only so much I can do. There was so much hugging, so much of that. There's only so much I can do. It just wasn't enough. And there are moments that I've gone through just like that, where I literally had to go to the Most High. And guess what, y'all? Put on that ugly cry. And I realized that, you know what, I have to be mature enough to know that, look, don't be upset at my husband because he couldn't give me what I needed in this situation. But go to my Father. Go to my Father and He will make everything all right. And then I began to be okay with that. I started to be okay with that. I said, you know what, it feels good to go to my Father. Right now, my husband can't give me what I need. And I'm not going to be upset at him for that, because my Father is giving me exactly what I need. And that was one of those things that I needed to learn and grow and mature in, because there were times where I felt like He should have been able to. And the Most High wanted me to lean on Him. I have to go to the rock. I have to go to that sure foundation. And so with a husband or with a wife, with either side, you've got to learn how to lean and depend on the Most High.
Now imagine this, right? Let's say that my wife didn't know Yah.
Right, exactly.
That's a problem with a lot of relationships,
Yes,
right?
yes.
The husband don't know Yah, the wife don't know Yah, right? And now they feel like, I can't get nothing from you. Where you gonna get it from? That's why they go out somewhere else, because they're supposed to go to Yah and they didn't. So now they out entertaining some young lady because they couldn't get what they wanted from their wife
or a man,
right? Or a man, exactly.
Because you couldn't get what you wanted from your husband.
That's right, exactly. And so that's why we're supposed to go to Yah with these things, because Yah will comfort us. He will help you through it, and and all of that kind of stuff. But that's why it's important that you got to have a relationship with Yah, and you got to be rooted and grounded in Yah, because that way you're like, look here, I know where to go. I know exactly where to go. Yeah.
And then
I don't have to go down to the bar with my buddies.
Right.
I can go right over to the altar there and bow down and pray.
Right. And so growing and maturing in love for one another, that's a big thing that you have to learn. As we get older, our bodies have changed, and things have just changed, period. All over the planet, things have changed, right? And so your love has to mature to a point where you say, you know what, I love that man.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if we don't go out to dinner and stuff like we used to hang out a lot, didn't we?
Yeah, we
You
did.
know what I'm saying? So your life can't be about those things. Some people think about all the things that they can do together, the places they can go together, the trips that they take, and they build their life on that. We having fun, right? And so when all of that stuff vanishes away, you feel like, well, our life is boring. I don't feel like that. I don't feel like my life is boring, even though we don't go as many places we used to go. We don't go out to dinner like we used to. As a matter of fact, I don't know when the last time we did.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we went out to dinner.
Although we were going to do an Airbnb together this weekend, but it all fell on Shabbat, y'all.
Yeah.
It all fell on Shabbat. And so, but, we could do that another time.
We can do it another time.
We can do that another time. But the thing is this, too. A lot of times people get used to those things and they feel like, they say the magic is gone. What magic? There is no magic in marriage. You know what I'm saying? Either you love this person or you don't.
Or you don't, that's right.
Right? And so when all of those things that you used to do kind of fade into the distance, you got to say, I love this person. I love their company. Yeah. I love when they are around.
Let me tell you something, right? This is my best friend here. This is my best friend.
Yes.
Right? I'm going to tell you something. If we enjoy watching movies together or documentaries together or studying together or just talking together, or just some of everything. Now, we used to fish together.
Right.
I'm trying to get it back on the go fishing,
Well,
but I'm gonna tell you, she'll go. If I'm catching fish, she'll come over and join me. Yep. If I ain't catching that, she's like, I ain't sitting out in that sun and getting bit by mosquitoes. I'll wait to see if you catch something.
That's it right there.
And I don't blame her, because I do my son the same way. I say, man, you catch anything? Nope. I say, okay, well, keep on, man. If you catch something, let me know. So I'm the same way.
Yeah. Yeah, if you catching something, I'm out there. I am. But if you ain't catching nothing, you ain't getting no hits, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, I got something else I could be doing right now. So you know what?
Yeah.
So that's just the way it is. But yes, family.
Yes.
But we've learned to grow in love and maturity towards one another, because even if my husband isn't feeling well, and I'm not feeling well, it's one of those things where we got to tend to one another.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And we're on each other about things that we feel like, like he was on me about the sugar. Long time ago. I'm over that now, because me and sugar, I'm just kind of like, okay, whatever. But he was on me about it. I've been on him about some things. When you grow in love and mature, you just say, I got to take care of this person. This person is not just my best friend and my husband. This is somebody I love. This is somebody that I adore. And so I want to make sure that they're going to be around here. I pray for this person. I pray for this man, right? Because, there are things that I know in the future are going to happen. And so we got to prepare our minds for those things. We got to prepare our hearts. And we have to ask the Most High, say, look, Father, you know what? give us some more time. I even pray for
Right.
that. You know, I pray for that as well.
You know, it's amazing. I'm going to tell you how we are too, okay? And so you brothers need to understand this, right? Okay? So, okay, because I've had issues in the past with health and stuff, right? So I've given my wife, okay, authority over certain things. For instance, if we go to the grocery store and I pick up something that she know ain't no good for me, she'll say, honey, you know you need to put that back. And I'll be like, you think so? Wait a minute, though. No, honey, you got to put that back. You can't have that.
A couple of times he did turn into the man in the grocery store, right? Meaning he, you know, got a little upset.
One time I got upset and I was like, what? And I was like, okay, calm down, you know.
You're like, so you.
I know. So one time I got upset because see, she knows certain things I can't have, especially high salt items and things like that, right? So one time I was in the grocery store. I said, so what the heck am I even in the grocery store for? I'm going out to the car, you know.
Right.
But guess what? She's just trying to keep me healthy, right? She's kind of trying to keep me around.
And I stood up my ground.
And she stood her ground. Once I got back to the car, I was upset. I'm the man. I should go in there and just buy whatever I want. Then I had to calm down.
Right.
After I calmed down, I sat there and I said, you know what? She's right. You know, she's right.
I knew he was upset. I knew it when he was walking out, but I didn't care.
Yeah.
And I knew when I got back, I didn't know what to expect when I got back to the vehicle. I said, but if you want to rumble, let's do this.
Yeah.
You want to rumble, let's do this.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to keep you alive, baby. I'm trying to take care of you. You know?
So after you know, I cooled off at the car when she came out. I was okay. I said, yeah,
and so
well,
and then I'll throw that reminder out there. I say, so look, you told me I can do this.
Yeah.
You told me that I can do this.
Yeah.
So don't get mad at me when I do it. Right?
Yeah.
I said, don't get mad at me when I do it.
One time I grabbed a bag of low salt potato chips. Like, she's like, honey, you know you don't need. I mean, there's low salt in them though. What you talking about? I don't need them. You know? But she's like, you don't need that, and she's right.
I said it might be low salt. I said, but neither one of us need it. I said we just don't need it. You know, from time to time we will allow ourselves to get those things, but I said we don't need it though.
Right.
We can't make it a I deserve this type thing because it's been a while. We have to make a conscious decision to say, look, no.
Yep.
You know. And I already know that some of you Hebrew Israelites that are watching this, you see, she wear the pants in that house. No. This man told me.
Yeah.
In one of his moments where he was, you know, not desiring certain things, he said, look, baby, I give you permission to put
the thing is, let me tell you something. A year and a half ago, it was almost 2 years. A year and a half ago, I almost cut my finger off, right? Mm-hmm. So we had to rush to the hospital, right? Mm-hmm. And so rush to the hospital, and they give me stitches, but before they gave me stitches, they had to run a couple of tests, right? So he took my blood pressure. My blood pressure was 245 over 110 or 120. And the nurse was like, oh my God, your blood pressure is... She's like, I had never seen nobody come in there with blood pressure that high. I was like, really? I said, take it again. It can't be that high. She took it again, and I was sitting there like... I was like, oh, man. Mm-hmm. So it made me think. I said, man. So I told my wife, I said, baby, look here. I give you permission. If you see me grabbing something that I shouldn't be eating or something I shouldn't be fooling with, I gave you complete authority to take it from me and tell me I can't have it or whatever. And if I get a little irate and angry, I said just deal with it. Stand your ground. Stand your ground, you know. So it's not that she has authority over me. I'm the one that told her to be this way because of how high my blood pressure had gotten that time. Right. You understand?
And you know, certain things, you know, I mean, as it relates to that eating thing, I just, you know, it is what it is, and I feel. You know, I feel like I'm in protection mode, right? And so I may just say, I'm going to just deal with this attitude because you don't need that right there, right? And like I was about to say about some of you Hebrew Israelites, some of you you'll take that and you'll take a sound bite and run with it and make it appear a certain way.
Right.
When it's not a helpmate, it's a helpmate. In my eyes, I feel like I'm being a helpmate when I say to my husband that you don't need to be eating that, or you don't need to be doing this or doing that, and you don't need to do this, right? I feel like I'm being a helpmate. I don't feel like I'm wearing the pants. And that's the ignorance that religious folk sometimes kind of try to pull you into, and you
Yeah.
know, we ignore all of that stuff now, and we just do what we have to do, right? We do
Yeah.
what we have to do, and we make the adjustments as needed within our family, within our marriage, right?
Yeah.
And you know, and truth be told, even with my mom, sometimes I love my mama so much, you know, and even with her, sometimes we would have to, you know, I have to call my brother. We'll sit down and say, "Mama, you don't need that right there," you know, and she'll be sitting there looking like this too. You know, sitting there, and the watchman be there as well. We all sitting there telling her this. And sometimes it's difficult to hear other people telling you what you can and cannot eat, right? But it's all in love, right?
That's
it's all
right.
in love. And so that's where we are, family. We just wanted to come before you with this. And,
Yes.
we've been longer than we expected to on this
Yeah.
particular broadcast. We have something else. We're going to take a break first, y'all.
Yes. We're going to take a break.
Take a
and-
break and come back before you.
Yes.
Yes.
So we're going to take that break. But hey, 27 years, y'all.
27.
30 years we've been together.
Yes.
This is
yes,
my baby. I
yes.
love my baby.
Yes, hallelujah. Hallelujah. So, on that note, we are going to say shalom, family.
Shalom.
Shalom. We hope you liked today's topic. Please leave your comments below. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, share and like this video, and with that, we're out. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment,